Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Giant Pod with me, Andy Wrintmore. This week I was chatting to Ginny Adams, who is a comedy actor. She is best known for her character of Cheryl Sprinkler under the banner of Mojo Moves. We talk about her comedy duo with her partner Nellie. They're called Rare Species. We go into the closet of characters that they portray. We also touch on some dark subjects, so please be warned about that one. We talk about touring the world in street theatre groups. We talk about ambition, we talk about mental health, we talk about a whole bunch of things. I had a really good chat with Ginny. I hope you guys enjoy it. Here it is. I want to basically get inside your head a little bit, if that's possible.
It is possible. Yeah, there's a lot of rubbish in there. You'll have to wade through, I promise.
Where did this begin? I mean, for the listener, you're wearing you got a fluorescent yellow ankle warmers, yellow trainers. You've got pink. Is it spandex or lycra?
Lycra.
Pink
yeah.
Lycra. You've got is that Star Wars?
It is Star Wars.
You've got
It's a Star Wars leotard.
Leotard. Yeah. A silver jacket. You got some
wrist warmers, sweatbands.
Yeah, yellow.
Yeah.
Big 80s hair.
Yeah.
What would you call those? Those it's curly, but there's a name for them, isn't
It's
there?
like a bubble perm, a corkscrew perm.
Corkscrew perm. and a silvery headband. A multicoloured rainbow glittery headband is what I meant to say. Not silver.
Yeah.
So you're it's quite the feast for the eyes right now, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So where did this begin? Like how am I sat here talking to you like this right now?
So Cheryl Sprinkler is just one of many characters that I do. So basically my background is in comedy performance, and I spent many years touring the world doing comedy street theatre. And a few years back, I decided to go my own way with my partner, who's not here today. But
he's not dead.
He's not dead. Don't say that. No,
he's still with us.
He's absolutely still with us. He's gone to pick our little boy up from school. So basically, it's a family business, family-run business. Yeah, it's all about the community. We're a community interest theatre company, and we basically our mission is to make people's lives better through daftness and silly characters. However, the character you're looking at now has a real purpose, and I basically went back and studied exercise to music so that I can actually officially run proper exercise classes, but as a comedy character, Cheryl Sprinkler. And yeah, she was born out of a need
wedlock.
For me to... What was you going to say?
Born out of wedlock?
Probably. She was born a very long time ago. Yeah, there was a lot of that in the 80s. Yeah. No, I just had this notion. It was a kind of eureka moment, really, because I was feeling pretty miserable. I was unfit. I needed to find work in Frome because I've got a little child, and back then he was 3, I think. And I needed to find something that would bring an income, a regular income. So I thought, well, I'll do, I was thinking about classes. I was thinking about laughter yoga and things like that. But unfortunately, those sort of things, they actually just make me laugh rather than, I don't.
Right.
I was trying to find an angle on it. And, my life has been dressing up as different characters. So it was kind of like, why would I suddenly decide that I'm a laughter yoga practitioner when I make people laugh through what I do with, becoming different characters. So yeah, I just had this eureka moment that I could run a fitness class dressed as a character, like particularly, the look is 80s aerobics, and the moves are kind of backing dancer, fist grabbing, excitable, top of the pops, it's yeah.
So it's not hardcore fitness, is it? It's not a hardcore workout. It's more. I feel like it's more of a communal community-based.
Well, you say that. No, it is. It is a hardcore.
Is it?
I'd say it's sort of medium intensity.
What I mean by that is you're not doing 100 press-ups and
Oh
burpees
God,
and
no,
squats.
it's not Joe Wicks. We're not doing burpees.
Yeah.
No, it's absolute joyous fun. That's the main thing of it. It's that classic, going to quote a quote that's been quoted a million times. It's dancing like nobody's watching. You know, it's that absolute freedom. It's playful. It's silly. I kind of talk back to the guys who are singing. So say, you know, or we had Billy Ocean the other day saying, "Get out of my dreams, get into my car," and I say, "Absolutely not, Billy. No, thanks very much. Don't ask me again." You know, things like that. And you know, it just sort of tickles people as they're doing, and they're exercising as well.
Yeah.
But they never realise that they're doing that, and 45 minutes passes like a breeze, you know. And suddenly they're like, "Wow!" And I've got people that have been coming consistently for 2 years, you know, 3 times a week.
That is an achievement. As we know, doing a podcast, organising other humans to arrive at a place at a predisposed time is quite a challenge. And you've managed to get people to do that 3 times a week and get sweaty for 2 years.
Yeah, you know, most people give up certain fitness things after, you know, the kind of novelty wears off or whatever. But I seem to have managed to retain a lot of people. And I've got, you know, 5-star reviews on Google, which I'm really proud of. 15 of them at the moment. And that's just because people aren't getting on there and putting their reviews. But
right.
I cannot tell you how positive the feedback is about, well, I can.
Because that's what you're doing.
Yeah, unbelievably. You know, when I had the idea, I thought it was, it's a nice idea, great idea, unique idea. But I never thought it would take off like this.
Yeah.
And I never thought, you know, within Froome, pre-lockdown, Cheryl was a bit of a celebrity, you know, kind of minor as, Z-list.
You're a major star in this town. Stop it. Stop being so modest. But, you know,
I was picking my boy up from school as Cheryl, just because needs must.
It's not like with Undercover Cops, is it? Where you're not going to get pulled out in a couple more years because they're losing you to the life, right? Where's the blur between Ginny Adams and Cheryl Sprinkler?
You do have to ask my poor partner, because obviously at the moment I'm meeting people for a new project and I'm Zooming them as Cheryl. I'm spending a lot more time in Lycra than he would probably. Bless him, he's from Hertfordshire, so he's like, give it a rest, like that, you know. He's like, so he sort of bump into me in the sort of the hallway, and like, oh, sorry. It's she's not taking over, but it is. Sometimes I feel more comfortable in my Lycra outfit.
It's when you start thinking in Cheryl's voice, that's when it's time to
yeah, that is when they'll pull me out of the Undercover Cops situation.
Well, there'll have to be some sort of intervention. Why are all the family here?
Sectioning, I think they call that.
Sit down, Cheryl.
Yeah, they don't have men in white coats anymore with all the cuts, but that would be, I know. I haven't quite gone down a sort of strange wormhole of Cheryl yet,
right? You
know, that I'll never come back out of. But
so where did this like you said, you've always been dressing up. I have a history in my childhood of dressing up as Batman, and we all do it as kids, don't we? Dennis the Menace, and my sister had me dressing as Spice Girls.
Yeah, but this was different. This was 8-year-old putting on mum's clothes from her, you know, just going up, and not your classic fancy dress outfits.
Yeah.
This was somebody exploring different facets of their personality and silly voices. And I mean, I was talking to somebody the other day and saying, perhaps it's a multiple personality disorder that I've got, rather than being just a good comedy performer.
Right.
But because I love that film. You know, how many Faces of Eve, whatever it was.
Just as long as it doesn't turn out like that film Split.
No. That is the thing. It's very much, you know, there is a me, but I do feel more comfortable. I feel more confident in other personas.
As Cheryl. So do you think that there's an element of escapism in it for you then? Do you feel that sometimes Ginny needs a rest?
Yeah, I think Ginny's quite a shy person.
Right.
Yeah. And so I would struggle to run a fitness class as me in, and I feel kind of uncomfortable in fitness gear. So it's kind of to be able to put something on that's really like over the top and vibrant and, and I kind of, even sort of dangly earrings I don't tend to wear as myself.
Yeah.
But I just, I absolutely, the dressing up, the kind of expressing myself through characters rather than, because my uniform as myself is a pair of skinny jeans and a Breton top, stripy top. I'm very sort of, and I feel that I kind of carry myself differently as well.
Yeah, sometimes I see you and you've got a sort of almost a goth edge. I saw you the other day, I think you had a leather jacket on or something, some sort of.
Maybe.
It was a very dark outfit you had on the other day.
Yeah, I do wear a lot of black.
I
do tend to veer towards black in my own. I don't know what that is. I mean, I have been through some horrible grief in my. Perhaps it's something to do with that. I don't know.
Like Johnny Cash.
Yeah. Well, no, I had a Greek Cypriot neighbour, and she wore nothing but black because her husband had died years and years before, and it was like the tradition for the widow to never wear anything but black forevermore.
Wow.
But no, it's not. That's not the case. I like black clothes.
Yeah. So do I. Black is good, right?
Yeah.
Black's good.
Yeah.
It's slimming.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's always been an issue with me, funny enough. The sort of not being confident in my own skin, and also having quite tricky relationships that made me feel even worse about myself.
Oh, I see. Right.
In the past.
So would you say that Ginny? I'm talking about Ginny like she's the character.
I know,
now, right?
And it's weird. I'm sitting here talking about myself in the sort of
Cheryl outfit,
third person or whatever.
So, do you, with like your emotional? Do you feel like your emotional range is like a normal emotional range, or do you feel there's like a certain area where it ticks over into, we'll deal with this in character as someone else?
I don't know. I think I close off a lot of stuff, I suppose.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think that's I guess it's healthy to have the outlet in another form, to sort of put yourself in a separate headspace and to work it out under those, almost like a new set of rules, or a sort of a space where it's like experimental maybe, and like you can deal with that there, and then once you're out of the costume and you're Ginny again, it almost gives you a bit of separation, I guess, doesn't it?
Yeah, kind of. I suppose the thing about the life experiences and what the things I've been through and what it brings to the character of Cheryl is a deep understanding of the rubbish things that people may well be going through.
Yeah.
And it's a really sort of heartfelt message when I'm teaching.
Yeah.
Because we use, lyrics that maybe resonate with people, even the simplest sort of "We Are the Champions" or "Simply the Best," or there's a Helen Reddy song, "I Am Woman," and "I am strong, I am invincible, I am woman." And
so Cheryl's all about empowerment.
It is very much about empowerment, and people do actually. I've had people cry in the classes.
Right.
I'm not there to make them cry, but it's this sense that there's an understanding, So it's an interesting one because on the surface, people looking in who haven't actually experienced the classes probably just think it's me mucking about. It's just and that I don't take any of it very seriously. That's completely wrong on many counts, but particularly in that the class is a proper class and you're getting a proper workout, and it's properly worked
they're not little guinea pigs in your like experiment of theatre.
No. I understand muscle groups and safety and all the rest of it. It's not just me deciding that I can do, and I just leap about. And I suppose the sort of second thing is the emotional side. I don't think anyone would realise how deep and meaningful coming to a Mojo Moves class can be.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you feel like Cheryl is your vessel for exercising, and pardon the pun there, exercising demons?
I think it's the vessel for
but within the framework of creating joy for others.
Yeah, I think that is really important to me, that I use my experiences to kind of get people out of those situations, or if they're going through a rough time, to help them feel better about themselves. And for a long time, I mean, I was in a relationship for many years where it wasn't a massively abusive relationship, but I didn't really have my own friends. I couldn't really listen to my own music. It was quite controlled in that way. But people that knew me would be like, "That's ridiculous. You were always, a fiery, feisty human." But sort of behind closed doors, there was this sort of sense that I was being slightly held back, and also very insecure about my looks and my body image.
Well, those sorts of relationships typically tend to erode these liberties, let's say, over time, don't they? Until the person does end up feeling quite insecure about these things, because things are being sort of withdrawn over time, and they sort of the vacuum of those things sort of create a feeling of emptiness and a what if and what's the word I'm searching for here? Insecurity.
Yeah. And so, you kind of made to feel a bit inadequate, and I was made to feel, well, people were listening to this and be like, "You're not made to feel anything. Your feelings are your own responsibility," and I completely understand that. But I think if you are in a relationship where somebody is constantly chipping away at the way you look, you do start to believe that is the truth, and it's quite a difficult thing to kind of turn around. And I think certainly, doing this, I absolutely embrace who I am. Funnily enough, even as Ginny, I'm not a skinny woman, but I'm leaping about in lycra in front of everyone because it's a joyful thing. It's not about that.
Confidence is key, isn't it?
Yeah. And I wish more women would feel that way. I mean, I saw someone had been and had a load of facial treatments the other day, and they are absolutely beautiful naturally to me, whenever I see them. And they'd posted a picture as if it was like this, if that's what they need to feel confident. But it sort of saddened me in a way that a lot of women, it is sad that a lot of women feel that they have to.
It's very hard to see. That's one of the things, isn't it? Is we will never see ourselves how others see us.
No.
Or we can never fully get there.
Nobody scrutinises your face the way you do.
Right.
Nobody stares at your pores or the way you.
Look at that black head.
Yeah, it's like we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, don't we?
We do.
Yeah. And
do you feel through this sense of community and almost like it must feel like a bit of a band of, not misfits, but like a band of like crazy open lycra wearing, jumping, leaping, this little family that you've.
Well, they're not. I mean, they're not. It's not. That's not the case. They're not. They're the most unlikely.
Oh.
I mean, a lot of my people are over 60, and they are from all sorts of. I've got a fabulous woman who comes 3 times a week, and she used to be the head of English at a girls' school, and she loves it, absolutely loves it. It's just it's like, because it's so playful and brilliant. So it's not these bunch of crazies who dress up.
They're much more like Ginny, not Cheryl. And they come and bask in Cheryl's glory and sort of escape with
Not all
her.
of them. I mean, I've got people coming. I mean, with these projects that I'm doing, I work with children. It's really a universally enjoyable experience for any age, and men and women. I've got a couple of guys that come. I think from the outside, people, men tend not to look at those sort of group exercise classes and think it's for them. But, the couple of guys that I have had come, it's about the mental health side of things. It's for them, it's really helping them get through some really dark feelings, you know?
We've discussed this before with some previous, at least one previous guest that I can recall immediately, of vulnerability within men. And I guess it's something we should sort of promote during the thread of these podcasts, is this message to men. There's a strength in being vulnerable, isn't there? And owning that you might be having a shit time, and not being afraid to sort of just deal with it and let the world kind of know there's something going on.
Yeah. Which some guys of a certain age are getting better at talking about
just
stuff.
what we want to promote, I think,
Yeah.
as a society in general. And I wish more men would actually take that, try and be more proactive to their immediate circle of sort of bros and homies or whatever, and say, hey, look, this is completely normal to, like let's say Joe Blogs or whatever, you're going through a divorce. If you need to go and do some aerobics with Cheryl Sprinkler to feel, to do that,
just
go for it, bro.
I think I was saying about there aren't a lot of places for people to go and have. I was going to say to go and dance really of a certain age. I mean, now poor Cheese and Grains, with all venues shutting down and not reopening yet, and us not knowing when sort of live music, those kind of venues, that's a place to go and have a boogie. But clubs are closed to people of a certain age, aren't they? You
sort of, yeah. I know what you mean. We've all been in the club at 20 years old, and you're surrounded by 18 to, if the doorman's doing the job right, 18 to sort of 35-year-olds. And then there's always that, not always, but there's often, I've seen that guy who's clearly in his 50s. And he's sticking out like a sore thumb, doesn't know how to stand, don't know where to look, don't know what to do.
But it's such an important outlet. That dancing is dancing and listening to music and kind of listening to music, and
it's so primal. It
is.
It's just human, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. And I think that's why festivals are so popular, isn't it? Yeah. Because that's a place where it doesn't matter any sort of age, race, gender, whatever. It's all accepting, isn't it? Yeah. Generally,
it's strange how those two scenarios are so wildly different, isn't it? What is I've been leaping about and boogieing next to, and having a really good time actually with people of like over 50 into their 60s at Glastonbury, let's say, having a sort of a communal moment. Yeah. Everyone's like fist pumping, singing along, maybe, smashing a few beers together, whatever, And then if you transported that to a PA system in a nightclub, it would just be weird. Why is that?
No, it's
strange, isn't it?
It's bad. It's bad. But going back to the male vulnerability, it would be nice for me. It would be probably useful to me in my personal life to have more men enjoy the classes and get something from my work, because a lot of people know this is about me. My dad committed suicide when I was 27, and so it's one of those things when people talk about male suicide and people not talking, it really hits home,
right? Because
I absolutely experienced that firsthand. Somebody not saying what was going on. Yeah. And so
you've got a vested interest in the health of men. My grandfather on my mother's side killed himself. Yeah. And I never met him. I think it was before I was born. But it just sometimes you wonder because no one knew anything about it.
No.
What was just sort of just went and did it.
Yeah.
And so you're sort of left wondering.
Well, my cousin, a couple of years, just about 3 or 4 years ago, my cousin did the same again. So, and that was on my dad's side. So, there's obviously some. Yeah, it's so terribly sad to think that there may have been something that changed that pattern, changed that day, changed history.
A conversation or something going a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think masculinity, I think in general, masculinity is a good thing. I don't think we need to get rid of it. But there's definitely traits of it which need to be redefined. And we need an update.
Well, the suggestion that men don't have emotions is absurd. The suggestion that women and men are just completely differently made, and it's women. Women love a good old sob, and it's absolute rubbish.
No, I feel a lot of it's a cultural training. I think.
I mean, of course they're human beings.
Yeah.
Of course they're emotional. Of course they get upset about stuff. Of course stuff cuts like a knife when you know.
If we weren't meant to cry, we wouldn't have tear ducts, would we?
Well, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's just. I mean, that all that sort of stuff where people join the army and then sort of shouted at until they don't feel, and it's nonsense. You see what comes out of it with PTSD and all that kind of stuff.
It's it's a real treacherous existence, isn't it? I mean, I would say if you feel like you've got friends that you can open up to and talk to about these sorts of things, then you need some new friends. Yeah,
but people struggle making friends, don't they?
Yeah.
And especially in this day, all that swiping left and right, and all, I know that's not necessarily for friends, but the way people meet people these days is very peculiar. I mean, we're extremely lucky to live somewhere like Frome because it's just got this really friendly. I mean, it hasn't just got the really friendly side. We know, you as deputy mayor saying what you said about the situ, but there is a sort of sense of friendliness and being able to walk into a place by yourself, a pub or whatever, and you'll strike up a conversation with somebody, or but I think in wider sort of society, for younger people, sort of meeting people is a struggle.
Yeah, I don't really know what to say about that. I'm not sure what my feelings are on it. How to sort of I don't know how to articulate that. But that's how you make friends, isn't it? You maybe work with somebody, or especially at the moment, if people are working from home, they're not having those connections, those things that you would, there's going to be a lot of fallout. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of sadness in this world at the moment. But let's move away.
Okay, let's move away from sadness
for now.
You didn't get me on here to talk about sadness.
Sadness is all good, but it's one of those things. It can become a bit pernicious, can't it? But so let's talk about. You mentioned that you travelled the world with street theatre. I know that you're part of Rare Species.
That's right. Yeah.
Tell me, how did Rare Species come about, and what was there a precursor to that? Was there some other thing? Was Rare Species the moment when you were like, we've got it, this is actually the formula? No,
I mean, Rare Species took a while to actually get together because, my partner wasn't my partner at the not that it needed to be my partner, but Nellie was living in a different part of the country when we first kind of came up with the idea for Rare Species. So we were kind of pinging emails back and forth, but he didn't even have a laptop then. He used to have to go to the library to open up his emails. So it was like a really slow process of kind of ping, have you seen this idea? So it was 2010, basically. We'd both gone over to China with a street theatre company. I'm not going to name them.
Why?
Because they no longer work in the way that I feel represents what they were when I was with them.
Okay.
Ambiguous.
No, I think that's perfectly valid. Actually, you don't want to tie your name to something that you don't morally or ethically align with anymore.
Yeah, it really isn't relevant.
Yeah.
However, we used to get a lot of work in different countries. We used to work for the British Council and stuff. So I've been to the most random countries like Kazakhstan, Venezuela. I've done pretty much every continent, 42 countries.
Wow.
Over 28 years. So a long time. I joined them when I was 18. And
wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been sort of pushed in a wheelbarrow through a Nigerian market. I've got a lift on the back of a random person's moped on a Greek island. Had a conversation with a Greek Orthodox priest while it kind of just bonkers times. Absolutely brilliant. What a life. What an amazing thing to have. Had it been now, the posts I would have been putting on Insta.
I was just about to say, if you have photographs and you have clips and whatever of these 28 years, can you please periodically share some of these?
Unfortunately, there isn't a lot. I mean, I do have some.
Right.
I do have some. I have some of the characters, but kind of referencing where we were. We just didn't have that, nobody didn't have a mobile phone back then. You
were living in the moment.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the culture of,
I mean, there are some
Instagram.
photographs for sure. Right. So going back where we were going, we started on something else, wasn't it? You said about...
We were talking about rare species.
Oh, yeah, rare species. Oh, yeah, so China. Okay, so China. We were working at the Shanghai Expo.
Right.
And I just have these ideas because that's what I'm like. And I went, I'm going to dress up as a panda. And because Nelly and I got on really well, and he had the right sort of outfit, he decided he was going to be my keeper. So I basically, because we were there for a month in Shanghai, and basically over the next few days after I'd had this this idea, I gathered together things to make a panda outfit.
Right.
Which, so I had some costume with me. Well, I had quite a lot of costume, but I had some costume that I could adapt. So I basically had a black polo neck, and I went and bought a white vest, and it was a stretchy vest. And I stuffed a cushion up my polo neck right. and my vest. And I painted my face black and white. And I put 2 pairs of pants on my head that were kind of it kind of created a balaclava look, a white balaclava, but right. It was actually a pair of pants. I bought a Mickey Mouse toy and cut the ears off it and put them on a headband so that I created panda ears. So I was this kind of like peculiar, slightly odd looking, but you could tell I was a panda. Black gloves, black feet. It wasn't
sort of a humanoid panda.
Humanoid, the British panda we called it.
Right.
And we got it translated. So we had a little sign that said British panda, very rare species, and it was translated into Cantonese. And I was taken out on a trolley,
right,
and I was put behind some white picket fencing that happened to be around the Shanghai Expo site.
So and you procured this, did you?
No, it just happened to be, there was a spot to do it. There was a perfect spot.
I see.
And I was kind of left there alone. My keeper went off, and I was left there just, I think we got celery or something. I was just chewing on celery with this little sign that said what I was. And the people at the expo, the customers, were queuing and and fascinated because they came past this, but they absolutely loved it. I cannot deny that it was one of the most enjoyable experiences of my life. And then a few times, so we went out more than once because obviously you're performing there for a month. So then we did it where I was on the trolley. It was like I was being transported by my keeper. And we called him Ronnie Morris. It was like, we love to sort of reference, for our own sort of enjoyment. Yeah. We love to reference things from our childhood, or, this is one of the things with Rare Species is that it's got a sort of retro vibe to it. Everything we do is kind of harking back to a former time.
Yeah.
So all our characters are kind of like, you totally recognise them, but they are generally of a different era, you know? So yeah, we went out on this trolley, and basically Nellie, as Ronnie Morris, just handed out celery to kids. And I've never eaten so much celery in all my life. I just kind of nonchalantly was chewing this celery, and like, you know, the kids would come up and what?
It's bonkers, but
wait, what?
Yeah.
It's one of those, isn't it? Wait, what are you talking about?
So what was the framework for a lot of this street performance? Was there ever like political messages? Was any of it ever sort of satirical?
It was more surreal, I would say. It was kind of like it was comedy, and it was odd things. It was either extraordinary people in ordinary places or ordinary people in extraordinary places. So, you know, I've climbed up scaffolding, and you know, all that kind of just it was free form, improvised comedy. We had a sort of structure in terms of a scenario, but generally.
And who would sort of make sure that you guys didn't go into territory that was maybe taboo or accidentally distasteful? Was there any sort of not quality control, but was there anyone you had to answer to and say, we want to do this?
We had an artistic director, and yeah, it was a proper outfit.
Right.
But back in the day, they were groundbreaking. You know, the stuff they were doing was sort of, and actually originally the company was born out of sort of politics and the sort of hippie movement and getting the arts noticed, and yeah, I mean.
And how would you tailor your because I assume that did you say you were in Kazakhstan? So how does the sense of humour from the UK to Kazakhstan to China?
Well, it's visual.
They all changed, don't
very
they?
visual. I mean, that's something that I've brought from it, and that's what I feel has been lost, and hence, you know, moving forward from it to my own company. It was about something that you could see that would be instantly recognisable and funny, and so there was a lot of slapstick, a lot of visual humour.
Trying to make it more universal.
It was universal, yeah, in that way, because you didn't need to tell a joke. I'm a rubbish joke teller,
right?
But I'm a blooming funny performer. You know, it's
Blimmin'.
just
I love that word. Oh, blooming funny.
Well,
me.
I don't want to swear, you know,
you
on your podcast.
Swear all you like.
It's funny. I do swear, but I don't swear. I don't know. Anyway.
Not obtusely.
Well, I did swear in a post the other day on Instagram, and I thought, I've just said that.
Oh, edgy. Do you so let's say with your tastes in comedy, stand up or maybe a sketch show like the two Ronnies, or perhaps you like comedy theatre.
Yeah.
When it comes to cursing and expletives and blue comedy, let's say, are you more of a fan of the people that drop an F-bomb to punctuate a joke or something, or do you not really mind? Because
I don't mind if it's. I mean,
because some people get up there and that's their act, isn't it? Effing this, effing that, effing and jeffing.
But then you've got clever writers, and I don't like it if it's just that's all they do. But you've got clever. Frankie Boyle, I think, is he swears a hell of a lot, but he's extremely funny in his
delivery.
Well, and also just his take on what's going on in the world. It's just so astute, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's scary as well, and it says it like it is, But in terms of the sort of comedy that I like, other than that, I mean, it's the surreal stuff. It's the League of Gentlemen. It's but I get a bit cross when people assume that I've seen that and I'm doing my stuff because I want to be like them.
I see.
I was kind of doing it before they, but I love that stuff.
Yeah.
I love,
How were you? Did you grow up watching Monty Python?
Yeah, I did I did watch Monty Python. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because
but it was pretty old by the time I was, watching it.
Did I just age you then? Sorry.
No, that's all right. I didn't quite grow up watching it, but I watched the repeats.
They're just sort of omnipresent, aren't they? That's what I mean. They're just always around in my experience.
And, it's that kind of silliness and
absurdity.
We love a bit of that. Yeah. And that appeals to me massively. I mean, I like to be silly. I like to play, I like to be playful.
Yeah, seriousness is boring, isn't it?
It has its place.
Yeah.
I think I remember saying to my dad, funnily enough, can you just be serious for a minute, kind of thing?
Yeah. Because
it was like it's the sense of just laughing your way through life.
Yeah.
That didn't work, did it?
Well, I don't know if it's really my place to say, but it doesn't sound like it.
No.
So you finished with this company, this touring, world traveling, globe trotting, theatre extraordinaire organisation. Then what? What did you exit on good terms? Was there did you have a bit of a diva moment?
No, it wasn't a diva moment. Just absolutely not seeing eye to eye at all in terms of artistic quality.
So you had artistic differences?
Yeah.
That old chestnut.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's as much as I'll say.
Did you have a plan B? Did you know ahead of time? Oh, I'm heading out of here, or I can see myself exiting this thing, and what am I going to do next?
No.
Or was there a moment of improvisation?
I've improvised all the way through my life. I didn't have a plan. No, I had a baby. I should have probably left many, many years before, but it was down to confidence in my own abilities and the thought of running my own thing. So it kind of gave me the kick that I needed to actually have 100% faith. There's also been some incredible people that I've met in Frome that have helped me with that. One being Kieran Nolan of Poot Emporium.
I think she's a future guest.
Good.
Because she's lived a life.
She's just somebody who sees the potential in people and encourages them to get on with it and do it.
Yes.
And she's been great. And I think I do tend to, if change hits me, it hurts for a bit, but then I managed to, somebody called me Renaissance woman, and I managed to reinvent myself and start again and rise up and rise up stronger each time.
And is that a theme in your life? You've had to keep coming back?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
I think that's just sort of life in general.
Yeah, I know, but
some
I
people
just
get it a little bit harder than others.
Yeah,
don't they?
there's been some pretty kind of big life events, but life events that a lot of people go through for sure.
So run me through your rare species characters, because I know the Queen is in there somewhere.
The Queen is in there. The Queen's kind of retired, and Prince Charles has hung up his ears because everyone thought he was Prince Philip, even though he did the mannerisms of Charles impeccably.
Yeah.
We're on a shoestring budget here, so we can't have wigs and makeup that is really precise. And we're not a look-alike company. It was always meant to be a representation, a slightly irreverent take on, what would it be like? And the banal conversations they have with people, the Queen, and what do you do? She always says that. That wasn't the Queen voice. I can't do it without the teeth in. But yeah, so the Queen's an interesting one. She came out of retirement last year, actually. Oh no, not last year. Pre-lockdown, February, I handed a telegram to a 100-year-old at his birthday party in Bath, and unfortunately during lockdown he's actually passed away since. But it was great. I didn't mind doing her then. So I wrote and presented a funny speech about his life. So that was why she kind of is hanging around a bit like a bad smell, the Queen. But actually, she kind of disappeared because we ended up going on Britain's Got Talent, and it was just a bit of a nightmare. They changed all our music, and it was
that's right. You were sort of misrepresented in a way, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I think they thought we were going to be rubbish. I think they had it planned for us to go on the old ITV2 show,
right?
And it turned out we weren't rubbish, and the audience loved it, and we actually got a standing ovation.
Yeah.
In reality, and there's a clip actually, and I can see David Walliams look at Simon Cowell as if to say, well, how are we going to play this? Because this isn't what we'd, because they're obviously not just sitting there blind, having seen nothing to do,
Okay.
They for sure have been primed. They for sure.
They know
have,
you've got a stinker coming up. Make sure you right.
Yeah.
And so
I mean, obviously, if anyone's listening from Psycho, I just.
What's Psycho?
That's Simon Cowell's company, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because I got a bit of a telling off because I did go on social media and basically say, they changed our music.
I think
when
you've
it was
got every
still
right to say that.
Well, you see, you sign stuff, and when you're excited about going on telly, when you've just kind of parted ways with your lifelong theatre company.
Yeah.
We were like, oh my God, we're going on telly. It could be amazing.
Yeah.
And it was actually flipping
soul destroying
tumbleweed. When I watched myself, my heart sank. I actually didn't perform for about probably a year.
Really?
Yeah. It killed me because everyone was so sort of stoked at the thought of us being on the telly, and then when the way they edited it,
and you want to be
just,
like, no, really, guys, it wasn't like that, guys. It was really funny, and they loved it, guys.
Totally that. So it feels like it kind of, what I've done since, it just is so many miles away from that. But yeah, the other characters we do. So we do a pair of 1970s folk singers called Mutt and Jeff, who wear kind of Aran sweaters and terrible BO. But they actually, what they do when they go out and about is run a gurning contest. And we've done that at weddings and things. And I tell you what, it's the best wedding photos ever.
Right.
If anyone's looking for some exciting way to make their wedding photos better,
gurning,
get us along to do a gurning contest because it's just fantastic. I mean, crikey, after they've had a few drinks at the reception, you've got Nana taking her teeth out for the shots. They really go for it.
To be a really successful, top gurner, you have to have no teeth because they really do change the way the mouth fits.
Yeah, because you can then put your lip right up to your eyes then, can't you? Your bottom lip. So that's Mutt and Jeff. So Mutt and Jeff, Jeff plays guitar. Mutt, I can't play any instruments. I wish I could. I've sort of toyed with the ukulele, but I'm just not very good at sticking with things. I'm not very good at practicing. I'm a bugger like that.
You've got your harmonies down.
We did, and we wrote some good songs actually. But I get super nervous singing for some reason. Weirdly, when my dad died, I lost my voice. I've got quite a good singing voice, and when I was young, I think I probably could have pursued something where singing was part of it.
Interesting.
But absolutely lost.
Was your dad a big fan of your singing?
My dad was a beautiful singer.
Right.
My dad was a beautiful singer, and so's my mum, actually. I'm very lucky. Perfect pitch and, really good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But, yeah.
It's quite a thing.
Well, I say perfect pitch. No one's ever said that I've got it. But I remember going to a singing thing in Bristol. I used to go to this weekly thing, and the poor guy running it, he could never find the note, and I'd go and I'd be able to give the notes to everyone for the start of the thing. Anyway, that's the sideline.
What's he doing?
But I get very nervous singing, weirdly. So poor old Mutt and Jeff did a cabaret act, and I was extremely busy. I've got a very small child and I was doing too much. Right. But I got on stage and I completely froze and forgot my lines. What do they call that? That's
corpsing?
No, that's laughing.
No? Oh.
That's laughing on stage.
You choked?
No. I can't remember. Anyway, someone will be shouting. No, dying is when you just absolutely... Yeah.
You froze?
But I froze.
Oh, what is it? Brain fog?
No, there is
Damn
a thing, but I can't think of it.
Right.
So I've done it again, whatever that thing is. But all I could think of was my little boy, and I don't know. I think I just said thank you or something. It was literally like my poor old Nelly at the end of it. He was like, "What the hell happened there?" And it was weird. I think there is a sort of connection with singing, and so if I ever have to sing, it kind of
Right.
it ruptures something in there. Anyway, so that's Mutt and Jeff. They're quite interesting. Then we've got so Tony DeMonte is Nelly's character who comes in on Mojo, but he actually was born out of a couple of other characters. Well, Tony DeMonte is originally the partner of Armistice Moped, who is an author. Very camp indeed, and Armistice and Tony, they actually don't come out often enough, but we compared a fashion show in Frome as those two. So it's just we get as many double entendres in as we can as those two, really. Yeah. So that's fun. Who else have we got? Oh my goodness. I should think. Well, the Panda and Ronnie Morris is still there, but I haven't done it for a while. Jean and Reg, I mean, that's what we call each other in the house, me and Neil. We actually, I say Neil, Nelly. Cup of tea, Jean? Oh, yes, please, Reg. Yeah, so they're just a sort of background old couple. I'm sure there's more. I'm going to kick myself when I go home and look through the archives. The Showgirls of Tro Vegas are nice. Sort of Union Jacked, shoestring budget showgirls from Trowbridge, basically. They've been seen in Iceland, in Frome.
They're about. Who are your favourites? Who's the one that you go, oh yes, I cannot wait to do this?
I mean, it's a different thing, but getting ready
Cheryl's
to
her own beast, isn't she?
Yeah. And just the dancing, just doing that 4 or 5 times a week, if not more. It does, it works wonders for my mental health as well as everyone else's, it's a great thing.
So what's next?
Well,
what's the plan? Because there might come a time when you can't jump about.
I've forgotten 2 characters. I can't not talk about Saggers and Turd.
Oh my! How can you forget?
How can we forget the
How
feckin'
did I forget them?
Nelly will be like, "Oh, Jean, what are you like?" Yeah. Oh goodness, they're brilliant. Really proud of us for writing something because we've always improvised.
Right.
So everything we've done, it's kind of funny at the time and it goes into the ether. So we have to come home and go, oh, we've just written a really, really good, that line, what was that line you said? It was really funny, but you lose those things because those moments go but we actually wrote this, we scripted The Fecund Coming.
The Fecund Coming.
The Fecund Coming, which is a historical tour, walking tour of Frome.
Oh yes, no, I know because I know what the characters look like in my head, but I forgot you did these tours.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, so again, that was when we were looking for sort of stuff that we could do on a regular basis to bring in an income. We kind of came up with this idea. And originally it was meant to be just one of us could do it. And it was just a funny walk around Frome. So it would be a guide, but it would be a funny one. So there's a guy in Bath that does one that's been doing it for years, Bizarre Bath and all that. But because we work so well together, we ended up, it kind of dissolves into something else at the end. And it's something that we couldn't do on our own.
Right.
The characters work together and it's got a sort of cult element and it's actually had quite a sort of cult following. It's like people who've seen it, the word of mouth about all the stuff we've done, Mojo Moves and The Fecund, has been incredible. People just really loving it and telling their friends to come and see it and do it. Unfortunately, we had to cancel. We were going to do it again in the middle of September, But with all these sort of new restrictions coming in, we take people through quite narrow parts of Frome, and we just felt that it wouldn't be safe. You know, it's such crazy times, isn't it? Because you probably would be fine, but you just don't know if somebody had it and didn't know they had it and came.
And you don't want to endanger someone's life potentially for a bit of a gag. Well, it's like,
you know, we're a community interest company. If we were to jeopardise our community, right, it kind of goes against everything that we're here to do. If we actually ended up killing people, we're just trying to make them laugh, you know, make them feel happy.
You want to kill, but not in that context. Maybe we should talk about that as well. So you're a community interest group. You've recently received quite a bit of funding and support, haven't you? Is this the new project that you were sort of teasing out when you arrived? That you've been in a lot of meetings today, haven't you?
Yeah. So basically, because over the 2 years that Mojo Moves has been running, we've ended up working with different groups, kind of accidentally, but really successfully. So it was kind of developing those avenues, really, without it necessarily being at risk to us financially. You know, whenever you set up a new class where you're asking people to pay you to come to it, it's slightly different now because of the online offering. But when you're having to pay for a venue, you're having to advertise, and if nobody comes, you're out of pocket kind of thing. So this is a really nice being able to offer the services for free, but we will still be paid to run those services through this grant. So back before lockdown, I was working with Critchell School and I was working with Lark Rise. So I did classes with post-16s at Critchell and the whole school at Lark Rise. So children from, I would say, 4 or 5 up to 15, 16 maybe. So a broad spectrum of children with special educational needs. And it was just a roaring success. You know, it was great to see the way they developed, not just physically, but their confidence grew. There was a little chap who barely said boo to a goose, you know, when we first started. And by the end of it, he was asking me for special, music requests and coming up to me and saying, "Hi, Cheryl," you know. And someone who knew him, when I mentioned the project, said, "Oh, he's the little chap that's non-verbal, isn't he? He doesn't speak." And I said, "Oh, no, I think he must have been painfully shy or something because he speaks to me."
Right.
And another guy who, the first time I went in, he didn't engage with me at all.
Right.
And it didn't seem like he was enjoying the sessions, but he was in the sessions.
Yeah.
By week 6, I walked in and he just said to me, "Mojo reclaimed," which is what I do at the end of every session.
Yeah.
And it was like, a real breakthrough.
Yeah.
It was just like, I think, what is lovely about being this character, being Cheryl, is that she radiates kindness and warmth and is not afraid to make a fool of herself. But, it doesn't feel like that. It's this confident dancing and the same thing, she oozes confidence and people just kind of warm to her and want to be around her. And it does have a really profound effect on people,
It's so beautiful.
It was amazing to see with those kids. I just could cry. So, basically going back to that. So this project, we're doing an online disco on a Wednesday afternoon and it's gone national. So I've got someone signed up from Kilmarnock. We've only had about 30 families sign up so far.
Right.
But, if they... stammer.
But 30 families, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, it's quite a good sort of result over a few. That's only over a few days.
I think that's a success.
Yeah, and that's just through Facebook posts. I haven't even got posters up around town or anything like that. I've been trying to get on the telly. I've been trying to get in the press, but I find them impenetrable. Really, you'd think it's quite a TV friendly thing, But, you know, I haven't even managed to get on Points West.
Well, you've got on the Giant Pod.
I know. I'm on the Giant Pod.
There you go. That's something.
Yeah, it's fabulous. Thank you so much for asking me.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of The Giant Pod with me, Andy Wrintmore. That was my guest, Ginny Adams, a.k.a. Cheryl Sprinkler, and more. Please check out her projects in the show note descriptions. We'll leave links to them. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a little review. Check me out on Instagram at Andy_S1S. This podcast was produced by the gregarious Harry Williams, and I'll see you next week.